Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Kathy Forrest, founder of Celestial Forest Institute, and I'm here today with my dear friend Donna Vroom. Vroom. Um, Donna is a emerged first year priestess and is signed up for high priestess already. So Donna, and I know that you've had in other times that we've talked, you've spoken into how deeply Priestess has changed your life. So let's start at the beginning. Um, what was it that first caught your eye, called you to do the process?
Well, I really resonated a lot with the Sophia component, the Mary Magdalene. Mary had already been calling me. The Magdalene had already been calling me, and that lit up all my circuits and pulled me into your circle. Um, but I really I find I've wanted to have a moon practice, and through your free offerings I had really developed I've really developed a new moon and a releasing process. Here's my I can even show you. Here's my little envelope that I prepared for the release, and
Mhm.
I put our cards on, and I do that every month, and that is twice a month, and was so meaningful. And
Mhm.
I was thirsting for more. I wanted to take it to the next step. And the priestess process, and when you give that first class to give people a chance to see what it was, it
Mhm.
really resonated with me. However, my daughter had an accident the prior year, and I did not think that this was the right time. And through your gentle nurturing and circling around, and said, well, think about it a little more. And it really was, the perfect time for me to do this. It
Yeah.
helped me show up with grace, with love.
Mhm.
Um, I had the support of the sisters in my group. It was something that I just looked forward to every week. I was having some really hard times,
Mhm.
and that was like a gas station for me. It was a time to feel who I was. It was to feel who I was becoming. Um, it really, I can't speak. I just hardly have words for
Mhm.
that.
Wow.
Um, but before I'm happy to answer any questions. But
Mhm.
this morning I went out into my yard and I asked the beech tree, who I talk to every day, and I said, what might I share today that would be helpful? And what she said, I think what you've learned the most is that to hold on to the earth as everything is falling away. And beech trees have like a hand, and behind my house, this giant oak lost a big limb. So
Mhm.
there I was standing there looking at that giant limb on the
Mhm.
ground, and there she was holding that. And that's the kind of thing Priestess has helped me hear, and
Yeah.
hear with confidence, and
Mhm.
hear and trust that hearing,
Yeah.
trust that I'm hearing that. And
Mhm.
it is a transformational thing, really.
Ah, yeah, it is. Yeah, that brought tears to my eyes when you said that. That's very, very powerful. That's the message so many people have been hearing and need to hear right now. So I don't really have to ask this question because you've already spoken into it a little bit, but what other things have changed for you, like before and after? Who were you then and who are you now since doing
Yeah,
Priestess?
I am a priestess, and I show
Yes,
up
you
and I show up as a priestess. And I had an opportunity to feel that really profoundly this last weekend. I attended the International Herb Symposium, something I've wanted to do for a long time. And just sitting in one of the sessions, it just came over me that I am sitting there, I'm attending, I'm in the presence, and I'm coming as a priestess. And I don't have to say anything. I'm just offering that to this group.
are.
And it also, this is a group that, we danced to the goddess, we celebrated putting our blood on the earth, and just celebrated, what we do for Mother Earth as women and as priestesses. And I was really able to participate that so fully. And it was a very, very meaningful to me. And I feel a lot of gratitude around that.
Wow. That's that gives me chills just hearing you speak into it again.
Yeah.
Um, so is there anything you want to share with the listeners about um, just what the experience is like when you're in class or when we're doing a ceremony together? Anything that you think would be beneficial for people to know?
Well, I think, I've been with my professional career, I've done a lot of training. I've offered a lot of training. This is and I guess you could call this training, but it really is a journey. And you are a very intuitive, your style is very intuitive. You have a very intuitive style. I felt like you really connected in with our group, our needs. There was no rush. We have to do XYZ on this date. People were working on something. Well, we just stuck with it until we were ready to move on.
Mhm.
It's very fluid. It's very uh, you're very plugged in. You're plugged into the needs of the group and the cosmos. And we are holding that container and bringing that in together, and learning how to do that in a circle is a very it was very meaningful, and I feel very powerful thing to do. One
Awesome.
of the things I heard at this conference, and I really, well, I didn't just hear, I felt. And Robin Rose Bennett, who's an herbalist, said, "Hey, we don't have to be massive amounts of people. When we align with the earth and we align with our feelings and our intentions to the earth, that is so magnified." And I think that the work you do and my participation in that has done that in my life.
Yeah, for sure. And, we tell everyone in Priestess that we just become a part of this organism that is doing that on the planet all the time. And I am very honored that you joined to help us with that. It's like we're another cell in that body.
Mm.
So, if there was someone on the fence, maybe wondering about Priestess, trying to decide if they should or they shouldn't, what would you tell them?
Well, I guess, of course, I would say take the leap. But, I think a lot of times women don't move forward with things for themselves is because of all the other things we have on our plates, caregiving, other responsibilities. And I think that a lot of times we say, "Oh, I don't want to do another thing. I mean, I have to do this other thing." Well, this is something that does for you,
I
right? This
love
is
that.
something this does for you. I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, sure, there is some effort you have to put into it. There are things that you ask, to contemplate or prepare or do, but there every single one of those things were joyous,
Mhm.
dare I say, self-care
Mhm.
um, items that fed my ability to give in the world.
Mm.
So that's what I would say.
Mhm.
This doesn't deplete your energy; it builds your energy.
Beautiful. Oh, more chills. Thank
Hmm.
you, Donna.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your
I
journey.
guess I have one more thing I'd like to
I would
share.
love to hear
You'll
it.
get source light with this, which is like another item is like the generosity in what is offered to you. I don't think should be left unsaid
Mm.
in my mind, anyways. You're offered so many things, and it offered, you're not required. But I did do source light school, and oh my gosh, I pray every day, I meditate, but this has made a beautiful container. It's amplified everything around that for me and
Mhm.
who I am in the world. And there is something you develop, you do a tree of life suit, and you
Mhm.
go out into the world with that. And let's be honest, there's a lot of energies out there that are tough to
Mhm.
manage, and this is a beautiful thing to have, and I'm grateful for that. So I guess
Awesome.
I just wanted to share that as well.
Well, thank you for sharing
Mhm.
that. You know, everything that people receive in Priestess, they receive from my perspective because I know they need it. Um, and the fact that you've dipped your toe into both of those things, and even sacred rhythms, you've been in,
Oh
and
yeah.
you know, all of those things make you a well-rounded priestess in the world. And dare I use this platform to just mention that the definition of a priestess is just a conduit between the divine and the earth plane. So there's no woo woo things we do. It's not magic, but it is. and
Well said.
and your your story is just proof of that. So Donna, thank
You're
you so
welcome,
much
Kathy.
for
You're
sharing.
welcome. Hmm.
I think everyone will be excited to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Kathy.